Hello, my name is Alexis, and let's do an August reading recap. Yes, I'm holding the notepad in which I wrote down all the books and the star ratings that I read. This is going to be a rapid fire review, like 1 to 2 words, not too in depth. So let's get into it. In the month of August, I set a record for myself in reading 7 books. The first one that I read was Leather and Lark by Brian Weaver, which I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. This is the second book in the Ruinous trilogy. I thoroughly enjoyed the plot, but the relationship aspect it wasn't really sold on me. The second book that I read is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which I gave a 2 out of 5 stars. The reason I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars was because the main character pissed me the fuck off. And I really hate fake dating, especially when it's to protect your family or loved ones or friends or whatever. Like, no, you're not selling me on that. The third book that I read was Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This was the first book that our book club read. I found the story interesting and there were a lot of trigger warnings and making me think that it was going to be really deep and just unsettling kind of story, but it turned out to just be any other book. So the fourth book I read was Scythe and Sparrow by Brian Weaver. This was the last book in the Ruinous trilogy. The reason I gave it a 2 stars was because I genuinely loved the main character, Rose. I loved her backstory. I love her as a character, but the story itself, it pulled a lot from the first 2 books, so it just wasn't shocking. It wasn't anything new. It was literally just repeating the same thing over again, which I was so sad about because I genuinely loved Rose. The fifth book that I read was Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. I think I have to say that I liked this one a little bit more than Part of Your World. Genuinely loved the relationship as well as the characters' problems outside of the relationship. It just made me feel it made me feel some type of way, which is kind of hard for me to do. So the sixth book that I read was The Bewitching by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which was the start of my fall TBR. And this is also my first Silvia Moreno Garcia book, and I actually gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. Mostly what I have to say about this book is it was interesting, but it took too long for anything to happen, and one of the relationships made me feel really icky. So and the last book that I read was Salt and Broom by Sharon Lynn Fisher, which I also gave a 3 out of 5 stars. I really think The Bewitching put me in a kind of a reading slump because it was really hard for me to pay attention during this book. I also have the same kind of feelings toward this book like I did with The Bewitching. Not a lot was happening. I didn't really care about anything, and it held my attention just enough. So, but those are the 7 books that I read for the month of August. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite read of August was.